Hello, hello, hello. My name is Karita Robert Green, and welcome to the Unwrap Your GIFT podcast, the show where we dance in conversation about all things to do with life, how to find your gifts, and hear stories from inspirational people around the world. You will learn how to celebrate who you truly are, unwrap your gifts, and step into your true, authentic power. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to season 2 of the Unwrap Your Gift podcast. This season is all about legacy. What is your legacy? Thank you to everybody for tuning in today. I am so excited to have you back. Today we are joined by the amazing Alex Dumas. Woo-hoo! Yeah. Thank you, Alex. I'm going to read a quick bio out for Alex and then I'm going to hand over to him. So Alex Dumas is an executive coach, CEO of Abundance Daily Coaching, as well as the vice president of the BIPOC Coach Collective. He is an expert in sales and marketing with a track record generating 6 figures in revenue and 6-figure launches. He has a background in psychology and a decade of leadership experience in the nonprofit world. Since 2018, he has worked as a trusted advisor, coaching top performing leaders in business around the world in areas of communication, leadership, and sales. The most important thing to know about him are that he's a devoted husband to Sarah and a loving father to Juliana and AJ. Woo woo! Welcome, Alex.
Awesome. Thank you, Karita. It's great to be here. And wow, I had to close my eyes for a minute as you were reading that, just like soak that all in. I'm like, yeah, that I am that guy. I mean, it sounds weird that yes, that's what I wrote about myself and you're reading it, but you know what I mean? To hear it and kind of have it reflected back, it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's
I love how
buckle up.
you were soaking it all in, like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
Amazing. So would you like to share your journey so far? How did
Yeah.
you get here?
Ask that question again.
I said, how did you get here? How did you get to be here today for us having this conversation? What's your journey been like so far?
Oh my goodness. As I shared that part after you read my bio about, I'm that guy, I grew up not being that guy. I grew up somebody in a very middle of the road kind of environment in New York, in Long Island, New York. I grew up there. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I like to say they saved the best for last, which is true. But my parents immigrated from Haiti and they met in the 70s, had babies, and had a beautiful life together. And for most of my upbringing, it was pretty standard, sports, being kind of the class clown, things like that. But I used a lot of that to mask kind of the insecurities, the journey of me feeling not very connected to people. And I say all of that because that's influenced this profession or this role of coaching that I do, this way that I help people, because growing up I felt very out of step, like kind of in the crowd but not quite, right? Just always not quite fitting in, but and always seeking to like be connected with people more. But I don't know, maybe it was my own stories, whatever happened, I just couldn't quite get there. And it was tough. It was a struggle then. It led me very depressed, very anxious about things, resentful, just so many questions. And spent a lot of time with myself and just thinking about things and creating things and music or words, whatever that looked like. But I see that definitely being something that serves me now, because for lack of a better word, I can do anything I want. I can go anywhere. I can fit in any room. And even when it's a room that's like kind of awkward, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be here. It's like, yeah, doesn't matter to me. I just go anyway. And, and a lot of that has influenced, the roles that I've been in with management in my corporate career. My background's in psychology, so I really went to psychology to figure out what is quote unquote wrong with me. Like, why am I like this? My life is pretty good on paper. I'm young, athletic, uh, healthy, all these different things, but yet I'm miserable inside. I my thoughts just race all the time. I'm thinking about the negative. This is how I was growing up, and then looking at psychology, like, man, what's going on with me? Got a couple of answers, but still, I was seeking something more. And then 2016, I found this thing called coaching, and it was through a job that I was working, and my job was to sell merchant accounts, credit card processing, and my job and their niche, their target audience were professional speakers, professional coaches, digital marketers. So my whole day was spent on the websites and scrolling through people and prospecting and going to events and conferences. And that was my first exposure to this world. And the lights turned on for me. I was like, wow, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like, I want to do this, which is hilarious because I grew up not really wanting to express myself. I wanted to express myself, but I didn't have any confidence to do that. I didn't have any platform or anything like that. No, podcast didn't exist, in the early 90s, early 2000s. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just scribble down notes and sulk and be, sullen and all these things. And coaching has opened up a lot of doors for me that were always there, but I never knew I had the key to them.
Mm. Wow, I love what you've shared so far, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to, on the outside, everything looking like it's fine, it's going okay, but inside there's this feeling that there's something wrong with me. There's
Yeah.
something where I gotta find what it is that's wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the thing, right? I have a thought, right, as a possibility that the quality of our lives is influenced by the quality of questions we ask ourselves. And my quality of questions growing up were not very strong. I would ask questions like, why is it this way? Why can't I have this? Why is he this way? Or why is she treating me this way? Why is life doing this to me? And with the work, with coaching, with the relationships I've built up, I started to ask myself different questions like, what would I like to create from this? Whoa, that's what do you mean? Create, like, I have a choice? Oh yeah. I'm not one singular thing. I'm not, well, this is how I am, and that's how I was always gonna be. I get the opportunity to create. Like, what would I like to be different? What would be fun? And one of the best questions can be a little corny for some people, but this is what I really love to stand by is just simply what if, right? That's all I need. Just like that seed of like, what if this is different? Like, hmm, what if? And then all of a sudden, if I can see it, I can live into it. And that's exciting.
Wow, what if? That opens up a whole new pathway of what could be possible rather than why not?
Yeah. Who am I? Why me? Right? Is
Mm.
like,
Mm. Mhm.
nah, what if? What
Wow.
if you do this? Holy crap, what if I could? And then you just grow into that. You find the resources, you find the people to collaborate with. I mean, that's kind of been my formula of things, right? Of just seeking out the right kind of people, because I'm sure you, maybe people in your audience can attest to this. Trying to do it all on your own, right? Trying to be the lone wolf, the self-made. I mean, good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and a lot of the time that comes down to people just not trusting people.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself because I can do it better. I have
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, I mean, we're all mini control freaks in our own way, and that's okay to a degree, right? We gotta be self-sufficient, sovereign in some areas, but for the bigger picture, right? I told you this over and over, right? And anybody who knows me, right? My game I play is everybody wins. When people are with me, they win. I can't win if if I'm only focused on like me. Yes, I want to win too. Don't get me wrong. I'm competitive that way. But I'm like big picture thinking, like, man, what will happen if I could put this person in position, or introduce somebody to this person? How can I make a six-figure introduction to somebody? that's where my mind goes, right? Because I want to circulate the wealth. I want to make sure that people who have different areas of brilliance meet each other and magic happens. And I get out the way from there. I'm like, here, y'all meet, you are this person, this is this person for you. I create you, bye. And I'm on to the next thing. And I don't need the glory. I don't need the celebration from it. I always love to hear how things are going, but to the bigger point, right? What would it look like if you took a stand for people where you made sure that everybody on your team is eating, everybody else, nobody's starving? That's a loyalty that creates obviously the trust, like you said, and also creates the ripple effect of, you know what, this person served me, who can I serve? If they're the right kind of person, right? Some people will just be like, man, I'm being served, and they're going to consume and take, and then they're going to be the other ones going to be like, you know what, this, I've been so blessed, I've been so served, I can't wait to help somebody else out. And I think that's how you can make a real impact in the world. That's at least my idea. What if that were how we all operated?
I absolutely love that. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everybody wins. And that is totally your legacy, what I see for you as well. Your collaboration, your networking, your stand for people's greatness, the connections, all of that together. I see that in you. And this season is all about legacy. What is the legacy that you would love to leave in the world?
That is a great question. I think the legacy that I'm really invested in and very, very passionate about is what we've started, at least in this different phase for the BIPOC Coach Collective, of empowering coaches of color around the world to amplify their voices, to share themselves in a really brave and authentic way, and to make an impact not only just in this coaching space, but in different business industries. I really see the possibility of what it would look like if there's a BIPOC coach, a coach of color in every executive room, every executive space. And this is going to go beyond just the simple, I don't say this simple, go beyond just DEI work, which is great, which is fine. If you're a practitioner out there, a facilitator, you know, this is not a knock on you, but I see the bigger picture of going to the core of these different leaders, these different executives, different service-based CEOs, and just being an ear, being their trusted advisor, and helping them reframe their way of being so that when they're working with their teams, right, there's a different conversation, there's a different lens that they're looking at people with. Their team become people, right? There's humanity in this leadership now. There's not just, oh, well, Karita's just acting that way because she's she's being an angry black woman or something like that. It's like, no. Karita's got something in her world going on, and they're tapped into that. Alex, he's huffing and puffing, and he thinks he's uppity. No. Alex is relentless. He's determined. He's ambitious. How do we nurture that? How do we raise that up? So that's going to be my legacy, and I don't know if my kids will continue that. They hear all the coaching stuff from me all the time, so I'm not putting any pressure on them to carry the mantle, but I really see this possibility of what it looks like with amazing, talented, brilliant coaches of color. And this is not like a rebellion against white coaches. I have plenty of white coaches and in my network too, but I just see us as an opportunity for us to rise up and have this wealth circulated. That's what I'm really excited about.
That's a powerful mission. And it's very much legacy driven because you're making sure that BIPOC coaches and all coaches are recognized as humans, exactly as you said, and recognized for the talent that they have, no matter where they come from or their backgrounds, but making sure that everybody gets the right support in when it's needed.
Yeah. I mean, let's just think about it. You, Krita, you're an amazing coach. You're an amazing leader. The better you are, it actually supports me and helps me, because when I go into an organization, where I go to somebody on a private one-on-one level, there's enough evidence out there to show that coaching really works, and it does, right? This is not me doing a commercial for coaching, like, hey, get a coach. But coaches made such a big it's transformed my life. And going back to what I said before about everybody wins, me experiencing this, me having this new reframed way of how I choose to operate in the world, man, I want to give that to as many people as possible. And right, caveat, and make a tremendous income from that. Right? It's not just me being a martyr, like I'm just gonna give. Like that's okay to give. But also, hey, I'm building a business. There's an exchange. There's an exchange of value. The value for my coaching skills and practice is really it's really a small ticket, right? Because no one can ever pay me what I'm worth. So whatever I ask for, whatever you ask for as a coach or a business person, that's really small if you really think about how much work you've done on yourself, what your experiences look like, and not even just coaching, just through life, right? Just the accumulation of everything you've been through. I mean, if I'm like an invoice person, like yo, you're gonna be paying me into the billies, maybe trills. We're looking at trillions of work I've done and thoughts I've had and conversations I've had. But you know what? It'll be a couple thousand. Just it's pennies compared to who I really am and what I bring to the world. That's
Yeah.
my thought, at least.
Yeah, you're touching on a really good point, and I'm sure there's coaches listening to this who could relate to feeling guilty for charging for their services as a coach, because it's so, especially when it's your gift or something that's natural for you, when you give it away, sometimes it could feel like, oh, I mean, when you charge for it, it could feel like it's a bit wrong, and I call it gift guilt. You feel, yeah,
Yeah,
gift guilt. You feel
yeah,
guilty for
that's a
giving.
great word. Yeah, because coaches were so for the ones that at least I've had a chance to experience, it's like they love people, right? I think that's the biggest thing. You got having a love for people, having a desire to support and serve people, and this was definitely a challenge for me at the start of like, man, I don't want to like. You get like kind of this small shrinky way, and like, wait a minute, I'm putting all this time, this effort, this energy into this person. It would be a disservice for me not to challenge them with, you know what? Let's just say I don't want anybody to anchor to a number. So like, let's just say level here, right? I've been like asking for this. Well, if I just raise up that vibration a little bit, that person now has an opportunity to grow into that. Or as I grow as a coach, as my coaching gets better, as my confidence in myself gets better, I'm going to be able to make an impact with other people who say, you know what, that higher level, that's what I want. And you know what, I'm going to show up at this level too. I'm going to be this kind of client. All
Mhm.
right, I want this much. I'm going to get this much of a client, right? It's about getting out of somebody something that they've never seen before. I used to play sports. I still do sports. I can tell you this: when I do push-ups at home, I can do a lot more when I'm with other people. When I'm have my coach, my sensei, looking at me like, no, 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 10 more. I don't think I can do it, and then all of a sudden it's done. How does that happen? Because somebody's pouring in belief to me. They're challenging me for my own benefit.
Accountability.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Absolutely.
It's scary, right? I don't say report to another person, but to take personal responsibility. I think that's the biggest lesson and gift that coaching has given me is the space of I'm responsible for this. This is the Alex show. I can't look at my computer like, man, clients aren't coming in. That's because Karita's awesome. Karita's got nothing to do with that. There's enough for everybody. There's enough clients for all of us in the world. And if I get into a space of, why is that person making that much money? Nah, nah. Well, money loves to go where people are energized. Money loves to flow to people who are excited, who are enthusiastic, who are service driven. If you're coming with the mindset of like jealousy, envy, resentment, all these disempowering energies, money's like, curve. I can't go there. This person's not even, this person's not open right now. Their hands are fist up, they're balled up. Like, I want the money. Like, no, I want the money so I can use it to redistribute, to circulate, to go back out into the world for good, not just hoard and be stingy and whatever else comes along with that.
For real. And what contribution do you feel like social media has had in that comparison that we do nowadays sometimes?
Oh my goodness. I don't want to say any particular names, but people know this if they've been around the internet for a while. There used to be guys who would have ads like, "Hey, look at my new Lamborghini. That's only because I read books." Or if you're not here, if you're not a six-figure earner within the first 3 months of coaching, then you're a complete failure, you're a waste. And it's noisy out there. It's really, I would get sucked up into it too. Like, man, six figures in 6 seconds. Oh, sign me up for that. Like, and you don't think about the journey of what's going on in that person's world. You don't know what that person did to earn that, to really earn that. And I mean, earn it as far as the price they paid, the suffering that they had to go through, the moments of doubts and fears, and those marketers, those practitioners, that's what they do, and that's fine. But I just see that with social media, it's so easy to look at one person's life and we start to ignore all the great things we do. You know, I could be in the space of like, man, I just landed a new client, like, woohoo, and then scroll down and see somebody like, yeah, I just made 250K like in like today. It's like, oh, I didn't earn that. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I suck. Right? You just got a new client. Somebody out there is praying for a new client to show up in their practice. You earn one, and you're over here crying and complaining because somebody else is doing well too. Celebrate success. I love it when I hear somebody landed something big or got a new deal. Cheerleaded, right? Because if it's possible for them, it's possible for me, whether I want to go that route or not. But I know that that's a door that's open. If that doesn't exist, if nobody's earning any type of money like that, then I'm wondering, like, then it's scary. Then it's like, wow, can I do that? Like, can I charge this much? Because nobody around me is doing that. People around me are doing that and more. I'm like, oh, they got it. All right, I know where to go. That's game on now.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, this is it. We're kind of touching on the evolution of the coaching industry and how it's evolved over time, where before traditionally people probably would have networks and inner circle conversations and get those deals and get those contracts, and it'll be all offline. And now with social media, we're starting to see people celebrate those wins, and then you tap into the comparison. And this is where I focus on, what is it about you that makes you unique and special? What's your message that you're sharing with the world? And that's the whole purpose of the Unwrap Your Gift podcast, to celebrate who you truly are. And one of the questions I love to ask my guests is, what would you say is one of your gifts?
Creativity, for sure. Uh, I just, uh, I didn't say it like this. When the day I die, and they want to like do an autopsy or something like that, they want to cut me open, they're gonna be like, whoa, creativity's coming out of here. Right? If I need to get surgery, like, they're gonna be like, wow, there's abundance coming out of his body. It might look like blood and bone and veins and tendons and stuff like that, but it's abundance, it's creativity. Because I have my connection with God, our higher power, if you want to call it God, universe, spirit, well, just acronym Gus. We'll just call him Gus. And from what I understand, or what I believe, is that he's the master creator, and he made us, you, me, humans, in his image. So right away, I'm like, the master creator made me to be like him. That means creativity, abundance is my birthright. Like, that's already inside of me. So now all I need to do is get out the way of comparison, of feeling, uh, of limiting thoughts, and really expand into what would I love to create? What is possible? What if? That's all I need to do. And then follow the steps to build that, to create that. It's not just wishy, like, wow, that'd be great if that happened one day. No. um, I see something possible, and I think to myself, what is available to me right now? And that starts that starts a creative process, and I start to think about, this person has a skill set, let me enroll them into this possibility, right? And creativity is just simply enrolling and just making things happen that could seem impossible for some people, but I want to be a person and create myself to be a person that I just make miraculous things look mundane. I want to make it look like it's routine for me.
Ooh, I make miraculous things look mundane.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And the gift of creativity. I love that. I love that. And one of the things that you are very creative with is your podcast.
Thank you.
How many episodes are you on now?
Gosh, as we're recording this today, I think I'm like 1022, something
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
Do you want to share your journey about that? Because I find it fascinating that you've committed to that for so long, every single day. I think it's so amazing. So share a bit about that.
Yeah, thank you. So my podcasting journey started in 2018. This is around the same time where I really made that declaration that I was going to start coaching, because like I mentioned before, 2016 introduction to coaching and learning and buying programs and things like that. And in 2018, that's where I kind of planted the flag, like, you know what, I want to I want to do this. I think this is something that I can be successful at. And me and my wife, we had a podcast together. We collaborated for that, and we would do 2 episodes a week. One would be us talking, roughly 20-30 minutes, and then so those episodes would get released on Monday. Thursday, I would do a solo interview with somebody else, like another entrepreneur. So we're doing 2 episodes a week. And when I tell you that was painful, it's it's hard to describe, because I was like super anal about it at first, where I would try to cut out every noise. It would take me 2 hours to cut out maybe to cut up a 20-minute episode. And eventually we started to whittle down with that. I was like, I stopped caring so much about it. And we eventually just stopped the podcast. We're like, you know what? It's not really fun for us anymore. I thought an idea that if it's not fun, it doesn't get done.
Ooh, yeah.
And that was it. But I still had this burning feeling like, yeah, I want to still do a podcast. And summer of 2020, I was in a small cohort with Rich Litvin and his wife Monique, called the Kaleo Project. It was my first experience being with Black coaches and leaders. It was my first time ever being in a room. It was like singing, like he was the only white person in the room. And it blew my mind. It was a life-changing experience for me. And the premise behind it was about amplifying your voice,
Mm.
about spreading your message into the world. So that was in June 2020, and the seed was just planted there. And then November 2020, I decided, what would be really easy for me to do? I can do a 3-minute podcast, because at that time I was even still today, making instrumental beats, and I found one that I really liked. I'm like, you know what, this would be fun if I had this as my background music, and then I just talk over it. Okay, it's 3 minutes and 22 seconds long. I can do that. And so I just started. That was November 13th, 2020. I just released the first episode, kept going, and part of that was, I know this is a long answer to your question, how this started, but I also I shared with you before, like all these journals, all these things that I have written down when I was going through some really tough times, where I was going through substance abuse, where I was going through some really dark moments in my life. And I had notebooks of these, like lots of notebooks. And I decided, you know what, for every episode, I'm gonna share these. You call them poems, I call them thoughts on paper. I would just share them for each episode, and got around to like 600 or so. I thought I was gonna be done. I'm like, all right, that's gonna be it, right? I was kind of had my mind made up, like, yeah, that'll be, I'll be finished with that. That was at the start. But as I go through the podcast and share and keep experiencing things, it's become a part of me, and it's allowed my lens now to look for different things that inspire me. This through conversations, different experiences I have, and finding a way to tie that back into business building, to tie that in with coaching, and I find inspiration everywhere. It's hilarious. I find inspiration with people cutting me off in traffic. I find inspiration with my dogs. I find inspiration with movies. It doesn't matter, right? And that's just my creative lens open up to see these different correlations. So Love Serve Care is the name of my podcast, and that came from this book called The Carpenter, and that's another story in that that I can dive into, but that's what I'm here to do: love, serve, and care.
Wow. This is about your legacy, your gifts. You're sharing your journey right now. We're dancing in a conversation, and there's no time limit at the moment. We are just free. So I'd love to hear about The Carpenter if you want to share about that. I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was written by this author, John Gordon. He's a Christian writer. Well, he's a Christian, but he doesn't just do all Christian books. Anyway, so this is around 2014. I was working in disaster recovery in New York. We had a storm called Superstorm Sandy that did a lot of damage to the tri-state area. So I was part of the team that was helping to rebuild New York, essentially. And the company had given us this book, The Carpenter, and I was like, all right, it's cool. It's like, it's a very small book, a nice simple read, but it just stayed in my car or stayed in like my bookshelf. I never picked it up. I never looked at it. It was there. And fast forward around 2020, right? The world shut down, and I don't know. I don't like unfinished business. I don't like things that are just floating around, but yet I have this book that's 6 years collecting dust. And I just got annoyed with it one day. I just got frustrated. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna read the book so I can be done with it. Right? I just want to start it and finish it. And it blew my mind because the principles that John Gordon shared in that book about building a business, he told it in a narrative way, right? About this carpenter. And the three principles were love, serve, care. And God is funny. He throws these lightning bolts, these divine downloads into my head, and I'm like, boom, that's it. I really resonate with that. I really connect with that. And it just stayed with me. And as I was thinking about the podcast, like, what would I want to name it? What would it be? What would it be? What would it be? Love, serve, care, love, serve, care, love, serve, boom, perfect. I mean, maybe if I wanted to change it, it'd be love, serve, create, but love, serve, care is what it is. I love it. And that's what influenced the title of this podcast, but also just principles that I go about living by, right? Loving people, loving myself, serve people, serve myself, care for people, care for myself. If I can give that, or at least express that to enough people that not only hear it but connect with it and apply it too, then back to my game, everybody wins.
So cool. So cool. That's awesome. And in regards to what you're up to now, what is it that you're doing now?
Gosh, I working with people, helping people, serving people. One thing that I've opened up is this small container to work with coaches one-on-one. I call this Activate, and it's a 30-day experience where they're gonna have a hybrid of things, right? Private coaching with me, but also community together where they can bounce ideas off of each other, network and collaborate too. And the whole premise behind it is to do the thing that seems to be scary that we talked about earlier in this show, scary for coaches, which is create clients, create
What
wealth.
what? Create
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. It's not about just building coaching skills. Coaching skills are awesome. That's fantastic. Get the tools,
Just
but
one
also
more
let's
certificate, one more qualification. Come on,
one more piece of paper, then I'll be ready.
then I'll be ready.
Then I'll be ready. I'm like, no, we're ready right now. We're ready right now, and my goal is just to work with these individuals, these powerful leaders, and help them steer in the direction of let's get clear on the problem you're going to solve for people. Let's get clear on a very simple offering for them, and then let's go deliver it. Let's go make it happen. Because there's nothing more fun than being on the field. I've been a spectator at sports, and I've been on the field for sports. I'm gonna tell you something. Being on the field is a lot more fun. It's tough. You can get hurt. Ooh. But when we, as fans, we watch a team that we love win, right? We like, oh my God, we won. Like, slow down. We did not win anything. You did not have a jersey on. You did not have to run past a 300-pound man trying to tackle you and tear your head off, or fight this opponent who's got gloves on and knock your head off. So yeah, I'm with you. Woohoo! Cheer them on, but recognize what would it be like? What's possible if you could cheer for yourself like that? What if you were the one wearing a jersey and everybody else on the sidelines is like, "Whoa, Karita, you're amazing!" And it's like, "You damn right, I'm amazing," and
Yes,
you earned that, and I'm activating that in people. So that's
I see what you
personal
did there.
application.
Wait, I see what you did there. What you did there. I see what you did there. The activation. Okay, love
Yeah,
it.
it's just it's fun, right?
Mm.
And I think that's like part of my other gift, like the creativity. Like, let's create these things that could be scary and heavy inside, and let's lighten it up. Let's turn this into a game, because I think about when I was a kid, and when you're a kid, right? If someone comes along to you and like throws a ball to you, or like, hey, create a tag, you don't have to think in your mind like, how do I feel about being tagged? Am I worthy to play freeze tag? Am I Are my shoes good? Like, you tag and you go, and you're having fun, and you're experiencing life. You're laughing, you're giggling, and that's kids got it made. They don't think, and then we beat the thinking into them, so to speak.
That is such a good point. That is such a good point. There's no thinking when you're a child. You just go with it. And it's like we're nurtured and conditioned to have all these doubts about ourselves. Should I go? Should I tag? What should I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow.
oh, I was gonna tag you, but my shirt wasn't buttoned. Oh,
Yeah.
and now everybody's gonna be laughing. Like, nobody's thinking about that. All they're thinking about is, I want to get to home base, or I want to play jump rope, double dutch, whatever. There's no there's no filter. There's no screen at this point. There's no
Mhm.
mask.
Yeah, they're free.
Yeah.
So at what point in life do we not be free anymore?
When we start thinking about what other people are thinking,
Mm.
when everybody else's opinion is more important than how I feel, that's tough.
Well, I'm sure lots of people can relate to that. There's a moment, sometime in our life where that freedom for us, it stops. And
Yeah.
then we don't feel so free anymore.
Yeah. I mean, my bondage moment, my moment of prison came when I was 5 or 6 years old. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember looking at this family portrait. It's my mom, she's passed on now, but her, my father, my two older brothers, and my older sister. And I wasn't in the picture. And I couldn't wrap my head around. I'm like, I'm not here. That's the story that I created at that young age. Like, oh, I don't exist. I'm not here. And that led to this separation from people, at least at this in an intimate level of being really connected with them. So I share all that because I created that story, and I ran with that story for close to 20, 30 years. And then gradually coming back to the reality that like there's no separation. I'm always been here. I belong. I loved. I'm blessed. I exist. And it was painful back then, but I recognize that that's helped me with my coaching so much because I know what it's like to feel just isolated from people, to just be a, a, a planet of one, me. And I recognize like, no, I'd rather have we. It's a lot. It's like Castaway, right? Wilson. Like I didn't even have a Wilson. It was just me. I was Wilson. I was Tom Hanks and I was Wilson. It was just me talking to me, running ideas by my own head, interpreting the world, taking all these things in, and not expressing it, not sharing anything with anybody. Outside of like surface level things, like I would make jokes and all this stuff, and we talk about sports and whatever, but no one ever really got to know me. But now with coaching, I get to do that with people. Like it's the most intimate thing you do. Like someone's sharing their life, someone is opening up these deep fears and these deep desires. And I connected that. I can really, I love it when someone really gets to the heart of the matter of what is going on in their world and they feel safe enough and they know that, all right, this person here, this coach, he, she, they've got my back.
Yeah. And in that share, I really got your commitment to everybody wins.
Yeah. Because I know
Everybody.
what it's like to lose. Losing sucks.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, we're going deep today.
Yeah. I mean, listen, our gifts, this show is Unwrap Your Gifts, right? I mean, in those gifts, there's it might be buried in the dirt. You might have to dig through some things to really find out what you've been put here to do. But I would encourage someone listening, if you could find it, if you can really slow down within yourself and find that, oh my goodness, that gift is like the movie Pulp Fiction, right? When they open up the briefcase and like there's light emanating from it, that's you. You're in that briefcase. That gift is in there. Your goal now is not to close it up and store it and hide it and be a secret squirrel. I'm gonna take that thing and like lightning bolts from my hands and throw it, and whoever's in my way is gonna get hit with some gift magic.
Oh, gift magic, love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always say find your gift and share it with the world.
that's what it's there for. I mean, how, gosh, imagine what if Jimi Hendrix figured out he could play the guitar like he plays it, and he said, you know what, I'm never gonna perform for anybody. I'm just gonna be in my apartment playing all along the Watchtower, Purple Haze. What if we never got to hear that? What if we never got to watch Simone Biles on perform her gymnastics routines, right? What if we never got to see Michael Jordan? He was like, you know what, I got cut from the team. This whole basketball thing is not for me. What if Martin Luther King was like, you know what, I have a dream, but I also have more nightmares than dreams. So I'm just gonna like kind of zip it up and do what I'm told. What if these people had gifts, these people have dreams, and the beautiful thing about them is that they had the courage within themselves to know that if I keep this to myself, I'm dooming the world. And that sounds heavy. It's like, oh my God, doom the world. Like, yeah, think of it like that. If I don't do what I'm doing here, if I don't share who I am, I I'm dooming us all.
There are millions of people that come into the world and they leave the world with their gifts still wrapped up because they
Yeah,
don't believe they're good enough. They
yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure you've heard like the I don't know if it's a metaphor or whatever like that, but the richest place on earth is the cemetery, the graveyard.
Yeah, that's where all the gifts are.
Yeah.
A lot of them. A lot of them. And this is where this podcast was born because it's about empowering people to think, what is it about me that I can find and share with the world? And you've touched on that so amazingly, Alex. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank
So
you.
before we wrap up, because we could talk for a long time and
Yes, you
speculate
could.
on here and there.
Yeah.
One of the questions I love to answer our guests is, what would you say is one of your favorite quotes?
Mm. One of my favorite quotes is something that I made up because who doesn't love to be a self quoter? And this is something I share at the end of my daily podcast every day. And I say it. I've said it over 1,000 something times, and it's part of me. It's more than just a tagline. It's really a core value of mine. It's something I stand by. And it's simply this: that you are born to live your life in abundance. You're the master of your future that controls your freedom, and you have complete dominance of your thoughts, your emotions, and your habits. And for you listening out there, you can hear that, right? Hear that, embody that. I think you can have something remarkable happen in your life.
Wow, you heard it here, live. Like, I feel like so special because I hear it at the end of your podcast. I'm like, we said it live. Thank you. But how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can learn about me on my website, alexdumascoaching.com, or um, I'm really active on LinkedIn and Facebook. So at the real Alex Dumas, LinkedIn probably more. So you can friend request me there, connect with me, and I'm not a spam bot. I'm not a robot. I'm a real person. So you will actually probably either see a real message from me or hear my voice. I love to leave voice notes for people because why not? Because it's just different and why not be different?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. You have been an amazing guest on the show. I've been inspired. I've been sitting here holding back some tears sometimes. It's been such a great conversation, and you're my first US guest here today on from season 2. So I really appreciate you coming.
I appreciate you, and I just want to acknowledge you for the work that you do, the difference you're making in the world. Because it could be easy for you to say, "I want to unwrap people's gifts, but I don't want to do this. Maybe this isn't for me." And you said, "You know what? I'm gonna make a show. I'm gonna interview and have conversations with amazing people, and yes, it benefits the listener, but I guarantee that it benefits you. You get so much out of it, of hearing stories and getting to express yourself. So for that, send so much gratitude, so much appreciation for you for what you do and who you are."
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alex. That is amazing. I'm loving this. I can't wait to watch this one back. And I hope everybody listening or watching is enjoying this too. Thank you so much for your time. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check Alex out as well. And I'll close by saying, remember, we are all born with a gift. And we all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. And now's the time to unwrap your gifts. Have an amazing day and see you soon. Bye.
That's a wrap, love.